Just to begin with, let's talk about your new book and CD. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, the book actually is a compilation of essays I have written over a period of years. I call it a soapbox. It's been on our website since its inception several years ago. And this is a compilation. Of course, it's not everything we've written, but it's quite a few of the things we've written through the years. And the album, the CD, is called Liberty and Justice for All, and it's kind of a patriotic sort of a thing. Some of it's music that we have done before. Some of it is music that we've re-recorded, but we've also put a bunch of new stuff on there. So it's kind of a timely sort of CD.
Was there a particular motivating factor in you wanting to put pen to paper?
Well, it's just basically kind of expressing my opinions of things. They're essays. Some of them are political. Some of them are just commenting on things that have happened in the world. Some of the things that have happened in the U.S. Some are just, some are funny. I did a thing on shopping with my wife, which I've compared to being one cut of a root canal done, that sort of thing. It's just, some of it's just funny. It's just a kind of a hodgepodge of different sorts of things, and it's just kind of my way of kind of letting off steam in some cases. It's just having fun.
In some parts of the book, you don't pull any punches. Was it a sense of relief in some areas getting some of those thoughts off your chest?
Well, I've always been that way. This is nothing new for me. I've been very outspoken in the way that I feel about things for a long time. So there's really nothing new about me, spouting off and,
Sure. Charlie, we're having a little bit of trouble with the line here. You're breaking up. The signal's not sort of coming through all that clear. I might just give you a quick call back and we'll try it again.
Okay, buddy.
No worries. What's the feedback been like so far on the book and the CD? On the book in particular?
Well, we've had very favorable feedback. We've had, we've had. There's a lot of people that were aware of the soapbox pieces I've been doing, the column I've been doing for a long time. So, we can't really be known it was that. And then I've had pretty good feedback from it. Of course, some people don't like it. Some people don't like the things I write, but that's neither here nor there. That's just how it happens.
Yeah. You re-recorded some of your great old songs on the new record as well. Was there anything you wanted to get across in the new versions of the songs that...
To be perfectly honest about it, there were several reasons for doing it. One being that the original recordings of those songs belonged to another record company, and I wanted to get them under our thumb, because every time somebody wanted to use one for like a movie or TV or something, they had to deal with the other record company, and I wanted them to deal with us instead of worrying about dealing with them. So that was one of the reasons. I'm probably going to re-record most of our old catalog for that reason.
Okay.
But another thing is, it just seemed that it was an idea whose time had come. It seemed like it was the kind of thing that we needed to go ahead and put out. If we were ever going to put this out, it seemed like it was the time.
Just to go back and cover a little bit of history about your early days, tell us a little bit about the Jaguars.
A little bit about what now?
The Jaguars?
Oh, the Jaguars.
Yeah.
We said Jaguars. I didn't understand what you were saying.
The Australian accent.
Not a problem. Jaguars were a club band. We played, the nightclubs and the beer joints and that sort of thing. We started, the band started about 1956, and then about 1958 we changed the name. We were called the Rockets, and about, I guess in 59 we changed the name to the Jaguars. So it was like a club type band.
Mm-hmm. I believe it was the great producer Bob Johnston who convinced you to come to Nashville for session work. Did you need much convincing from Bob to do that?
Not a whole lot, because I was wanting to go to Nashville anyway. Really, I was wanting to be a part of the situation there, and you know, it was not a hard decision for me at all because I didn't really have a lot going on at the time, and Bob had moved in and taken over the Columbia operation there, and I was just, you know, I was very happy to be a part of that.
He got you a bit of production work too, didn't he, at the time?
Oh yeah, he sure did. In fact, we, you know, one of the things that really helped me get started was some sessions I did with Bob Dylan back in on Nashville Skyline and Self-Portrait New Morning. It was a pretty good name recognition thing because Bob was kind enough to put the musicians' names on the back of the albums. Mm-hmm. So it was a big help.
For sure. Any standout memories of those sessions?
I know Nashville Skyline, they had booked, you know, I'm trying to think how many sessions it was, but it was a lot to get the record done. They wanted to go ahead and get it done, and they had booked a lot of sessions to get it done. And then we did it. We had so much fun with it, and it came off so quick and so easy that we only used a portion of those sessions. We were through with it in just a few days.
When you formed the Charlie Daniels Band, did you have a particular sound in mind?
Well, you know, it's really kind of hard to answer because that's going way back, and it's kind of hard to think. I just wanted to, I wanted to have a band to do my music, as opposed to doing somebody else's music. I had my own music, and I was wanting to do that. But, you know, if you have a true band, if you really have a band and you let everybody be a part of it, if you got 5 or 6 or 7 people, however many it is, and you let everybody be a part of it, it takes a while to develop a style, and you kind of find yourself, you know, as you go along, as opposed to just you know, just walking in a rehearsal studio and saying, this is the kind of band we're going to be. It's better to let things happen naturally and use, that's what a band is. It's several different members with everybody contributing their personality, their musical personalities, and their feelings to the overall sound. And that's what I did. I wanted everybody to be a part of it. And that's what a true band is. And, you know, you can't just walk in and say, well, if you just set one thing, if you say we're going to be a blues band and you go in and play nothing but blues, you may be not using the talents of a guy sitting across the room as a great jazz musician or a great country musician. So you kind of go in and you spend a lot of time together and you let things happen as they will. And that's what the Charlie Daniels style is.
I guess if there's one album that really began to draw attention to the band, it would be Fire on the Mountain.
Definitely. You know, till this day, which is kind of strange, really, but till this very day, I still get I get a lot of requests for off of that album, and I get requests for songs from people that weren't even born when the album came out. You know, the album now is about, it's approaching 30 years old because it's was done in 1974. So next year it'll be 30 years old, but it's still a lot of songs requested off of that album.
Did you feel confident with that album when you finished recording it that this was going to be the one?
I felt very good about it. I didn't. You never know until you know you get it out because you kind of live in your own world when you do music like we do. That we don't follow trends or fads or you know or this or that. We just go in and do what we feel like is the best thing. So it's you know you don't really absolutely know what's going how it's going to be received until you actually get it out there and let people hear it. But yes, I had a very good feeling about this album. I had a feeling that it could be a really good album for us.
Of course, you crossed into top 40 radio with The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Did you see the hit single potential of that when you recorded it, or did that surprise you?
Yeah, I did. I felt, and there again, you know, you never know for sure until you actually get it out there and let people hear. But yeah, I had a very strong feeling about this song. I had a strong feeling that it was could very possibly be a big song for us.
Now, something you've been renowned for over the years is the volunteer jams. Can you tell us about the origins of that?
I sure can. Volunteer Jam started actually as a live recording session. In fact, Fire on the Mountain was the motivating factor for Volunteer Jam. We had two songs, original song called No Place to Go and a fiddle tune called Orange Blossom Special that we wanted to do in front of an audience. And about the only place we could draw an audience that day, 1974, to an audience of any consequence, was in Nashville, our hometown. So we scheduled a show. We called it Tennessee. The state of Tennessee is known as a volunteer state. And we called it the Volunteer Jam after the volunteer state of Tennessee. And, we booked this hall and kind of casually invited some of our friends up, said, hey, if you're not doing anything Saturday night, come up to Nashville and jam with us. And that first year, 3 members of the Marshall Tucker Band came, and Dickie Betts of the Allman Brothers Band. And it was very evident from the outset that this was a happening, that it took on a life of its own. It was just a real happening, and it was it was very obvious that it was something we should do again, and so we did. We've done it for off and on for several years now.
Yeah. You had a role to play in the rise of Jimmy Carter to president. Can you tell us how you got to know Jimmy and about that time?
Well, at that time, we had a real political mess in this country. It was during the Watergate time. It was people had lost confidence in the government. They had lost confidence in the honesty of the president when Richard Nixon was in. And it was very obvious that we needed somebody to come in and restore some confidence in the office of the presidency and the governor. In the office of the presidency and government in particular. And Mr. Carter was the ex-governor of the state of Georgia, and some of his people got in touch with us and asked if we would, try to help him raise some money to become president. And I knew nothing about the way he felt about things or anything at that time. And so I said, well, I need to know something about the man. And they sent me some information, and he called and talked to me on the telephone, and I thought, this is the guy that we need to help straighten this mess out. And Mr. Carter was a very honest sort of a person, and even people who didn't like him, didn't like his policies and so forth, at least had to say, yes, this is a good man.
One thing I've always admired about your work over the years is you've always maintained a good balance of songs that make people sit up and think about important social and political issues, but also songs that are just pure fun and enjoyment. Has it been particularly important to you to keep a balance between the two?
First and foremost, I'm an entertainer. That's my main concern, is to entertain people when I walk on stage. I want to... I want people. I never want people to leave the auditorium or whatever venue that we're playing without saying that they didn't have a good time. That we gave them their money's worth. And so it's that's first and foremost in my mind, is entertaining people. So everything after that, whatever happens after that, I'm not a social commentator particular or anything like that. I'm basically, as I say, an entertainer. So that's first. Anything that happens after that, if something comes off as a result of that, then that's fine. But like I say, first and foremost, entertainer first. Whatever else secondly. You
crossed over into some Christian albums in the 90s. Was that something you felt a particular need to do?
Well, I am a Christian, and I had been wanting to do a Christian album for a long time. But mainstream record companies don't do Christian music very much anymore because there's an expertise involved in selling it. There's a special places the records have to be placed in Christian bookstores, and there's a whole other set of promotion considerations. And so they pretty much stick with the mainstream music and leave the marketing of gospel music to the smaller labels who have the expertise in the field. And we had been on major record labels, and we were on Capitol Records, and they approached us. One of the people called and said, "Well, we're doing, we're wanting to have some people do gospel albums. Some of the artists do gospel albums, and some of the artists on the label." And I said, "Well, yeah, I've been wanting to do that for a long time, so count me in." So they had looked at the roster, and they thought it would be we would be a good start. So we did. We started out, and first thing you know, here we went, and we did. Actually, ended up doing. We've done 3 gospel albums now, actually.
Bob Dylan was once quoted as saying that he would find it hard to trust an artist that didn't at least record some Christian material. Do you feel that too?
No, not at all. I mean, I don't. To each his own. To everybody, to his own feelings and his own conscience. I don't. I try to hold myself to a standard, but I don't really. I don't think it's my place to hold anybody else to a standard.
Now, you set up your own label recently, as you mentioned before. Was that something born out of a wish to get away from dealing with major record companies?
Yeah. I had contracts laying on my manager's desk from a major record label at the time. We were just crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and I had a situation develop that made me know that if I signed with it, that I was going to have interference in my music. I was going to have somebody trying to look over my shoulder and trying to interfere in what I did and telling me what I should do and what I shouldn't do. And at this stage of my career and at this age in my life, I have no desire to do that. I want to do what I want to do, and that's not being. I take direction really well. I just don't take dictation very well, and I did not want to get in a situation that somebody would be aggravating the stuffing out of me while I was trying to play my music. So I reneged. I said, I don't want to do this. We'll do our own thing. We'll do what we feel like we need to do, right, wrong, or indifferent, and at least I'll be happy with it.
Looking back now, is it something that you perhaps wish you'd done sooner?
No, not really. I think, the thing is with a smaller record label is you're not going to sell as many records, and they don't have the promotion staff that the bigger record companies do. And I think breaking on a big label was, to give the recognition, was made it possible for us to have our label, to start out on a bigger label and then to go, to a smaller label worked. I think that was a big help.
Looking back at that whole southern rock genre that I guess you're associated with, was there a real sense of camaraderie amongst the southern rock bands?
Yeah, there was, especially between us and all. There was some of the other bands that didn't get along good together, but we got along good with all of them. And the thing is, John, I think you put your finger on it. I've never seen southern rock as a genre of music. I've always just seen it as a bunch of guys that came up in the same, social, economic, religious type backgrounds that were playing music and had records at the same time, that were from the same geographical part of the United States, more so than being a sound. Of course, all the music was, country and blues based, but if you look at it, the Allman Brothers Band was a blues band. The Leonard Skinner Band was as pure a rock and roll band as you can find. Marshall Tucker had country leanings, and we were kind of lost off out in the middle there playing some of all of it. And so all the bands were different as any bands anywhere are, but the personal part, the part that the camaraderie, the understanding, we all ate the same foods growing up, and, understanding lingo and just, understanding each other and having that kind of feeling, was a big part of, when I met Marshall Tucker, I hadn't known him just a little while. I felt like almost feel like you know them all their life. And Ronnie Van Zant, and you just meet these people, and they had hominy grits for breakfast too, and it's just that it was, to me, it was more, the people were more of a genre than the music was.
Is there a certain type of album or a certain style of album that you haven't tackled yet that you'd like to try?
I am thinking about doing album that will be totally different from anything we have ever done, and I don't know a name to put on it other than other than the lack of a better name to put on it, John. I just call it progressive. I mean, it's just going some places we've never been. That we've never been on record, I should say. As far as a band jam and stuff, we go all kinds of places that we don't get recorded. But I'm working on some stuff that's going to be pretty strange to people that are not, that are going to be looking for a certain type of album out of it. It will not be like anything we've ever done before. I don't have all the material for that yet, and I don't know when that's going to happen, but at some time in the future, I'm hoping to start on it.
And just before we finish up, I know I've got to let you go. What's the makeup of the Charlie Daniels Band nowadays? Who are the guys in the band?
I've got Tazzy Gregorio on keyboards, who has been with me for over 30 years. Charlie Hayward on bass, who's been with me for 28 years. Bruce Brown on one guitar, who's been with me for 14 years. Pat McDonald on drums, who is in his 4th year. And Sparky Mateka on guitar, who is in his 3rd year now. So, we're a pretty stable outfit. We change a little bit from time to time, but we don't change a lot. We're not, we don't have the musicians du jour. We have the guys that come in and work. We're a very serious band. We have hospitalization insurance. We have a 401k plan, which is a savings plan, and to try to help everybody take care of their future. We're a very business-like band. I am concerned with the welfare of my people, and they have a home with me as long as they do right, and they do right. And I've had fired very few people in my life, but as long as they do right, they got a home here, and they know that I'm not going to be like some of the acts and come home for Christmas and fire the band, and they don't have a job next year. I don't play those games. I am good to them, and they're good to me, and that's how it works.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Charlie. It's been
I would be just a little remiss, John, if I didn't say that I have been to your country, and we have toured your country a couple of times, and we have had the best time down there. You got some great people, and we are looking forward to the day that we can come back down under and entertain you folks again.
I've got great memories of seeing you down here in the past, and yeah, we'd love to see you down there again. I hope we can make it happen.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.